All right, guys, so we're gonna follow up with a video number 2 where Natasha was talking about triathlon training and setting up the triathlon training throughout the months and the weeks and things like that. I'm gonna go over the weekly schedule for the strength and power work that I've been doing leading up to the triathlon in December, but overall, this is what I would do if I were working towards or getting somebody ready for triathlon. Now, with this being said, you know I'm gonna run the condensed conjugate version, right? This is something that I do with my MMA guys because there's multiple modalities of training that are going on throughout the weeks. So for me, I'm only having about 2 times inside the weight room a week because other than that, I'm either swimming, I'm biking, or running. Also, we're gonna go ahead and throw some mobility training in there and low-level plyometrics to help aid in the training itself. So I'm gonna follow along that schedule that Natasha wrote up, but Monday, and we're gonna go off of rate of perceived exertion, our RPE scale. Now, when you're talking about an RPE scale, we're gonna go from 1 to 10. Now, 10 being the highest intensity, 1 being basically sleeping, right? So for that, the RPE on Monday, like she was saying, is gonna be a little bit lighter. So if you haven't seen the video, make sure you go check it out. Video number 1, link is in the description. But Monday is gonna be a swim and, again, mobility training. And that's gonna be a 5 to 6. So this is gonna be more of that recovery day because the weekends, we'll talk about that, are gonna be more intense. Monday, gonna be a light swim, right? Recovery session. We're gonna do some mobility. So basically what I'm gonna be doing is FRC, or functional range conditioning, working on that end range control, increase in range of motion. We're also gonna be doing some band distraction work, maybe some myofascial release if you can get in there and get some done, and then low level plyometrics because I still wanna stay strong. I wanna have that tendon stiffness built in, and I wanna stay elusive, all right? So that's gonna help aid in the running. It's gonna help you increase your propulsion rate. It's gonna help you increase your efficiency of running too as well. So we wanna make sure that that's being worked on. Now, on Tuesday, right, we're gonna increase it. Now we're gonna go highs and lows, right? We're gonna consolidate the stresses throughout the day. So 9 to 10, right? That's a high intensity day, right? 9 to 10, Tuesday is gonna be a bike and a runoff. That bike is gonna be highly intense. Usually I'm on the trainer in my garage, pushing that wattage. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the bike, and then from there, that's gonna be another runoff. So right now, I'm looking at about 20 to 30 minute runoff. Obviously that'll increase once I get a little bit better and increase my conditioning. But then the same day, I'm gonna go ahead and do the day 1 of condensed conjugate, which is gonna be either a maximal effort or heavy effort, lower body, and a dynamic effort, upper body. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to increase over time. So a 3-week wave, from 90% to 100%. On that 3rd week, I'm gonna try to hit a PR, and then I'm gonna deload on the week or week after that on the 4th week. The dynamic effort is the same concept, right? You're gonna go 50 to 60%. So you're looking at speed strength ranges. We're gonna be using bands and chains and things of that nature for accommodated resistance to help with that compensatory acceleration factor, all right? So you're getting both sides of the force velocity curve worked in, right? Because we're only having 2 days a week to really put in work inside the weight room. So we want to get as much as we can. So the overall density of training is going to be high. The frequency, obviously not, but we have so much frequency of triathlon training that we want to kill ourselves inside the weight room. Another thing that I don't want to do is be really sore, right? So I don't want a huge amount of muscle soreness. I don't want a lot of breakdown. So what I want to do is get a nervous system activation. I want to get, intermuscular coordination built in, a little bit of intramuscular coordination, but the goal really is to enhance my ability to produce force and produce force fast. Wednesday, all right, 7 to 8 RPE. So this is more of a medium intensity day, and you're gonna do another swim and a run. Now for this one, I stay away from the weight room, not doing too much mobility or plyometrics. I'm just basically working triathlon training. So now it goes from light to heavy to medium. And then the next day on Thursday, we're gonna go do an endurance bike ride. Now this is gonna be a little bit longer of a duration. Usually if you can, you wanna get outside on the road and work your technique. For me, because of the hectic schedule, sometimes I'll be on the trainer, but that's primarily where I wanna be, because a lot of times when you're talking about weather and things like that, I can get it in, I can get it done, and then I can move on to the next thing. That's gonna be an RPE 6. Now we're gonna go down again to a lower intensity day, 5 to 6, nothing crazy. This is gonna be a swim and a recovery run. So again, you want to keep it in a conversational pace, right? So if you're looking at it from like Mapatone running or LSD type of work, you're going to keep it really low intense, right? But I'm also going to work in, once I get done with that, mobility. So I'm still going to do some FRC work. And again, it's going to be lower intensity. So I'm not going maximal isometrics or pails and rails at an isometric state. Band work, myofascial release, if you can get in there with a massage therapist, I highly recommend it on that day. And then also before you do that, obviously you want to do some low-level plyometrics, and that's going to be done primarily before the run. So I'll do those low-level plyos and then go and run because it kind of goes together, right? Now, getting on to the weekend where it is going to be our higher intensity days and longer duration time too as well, because the weekends pretty much have more time to do work, right? So 9 to 10 RPE, right? We're hitting it hard here. Again, hard on the bike, and then right on that run. So directly after that, we're gonna go ahead and hit the run. And then after that, about 3 to 4 hours, either pre or post, and I highly recommend post, right? We're gonna go ahead and do maximal effort or heavy effort upper body now, and move it on to dynamic lower. So now you're gonna be doing things like, you know, speed deadlifts or trap bar, sumo, something like that. Really working on hip extension, right? Really working on being able to produce force fast from that ground up. Now from there, with the upper body stuff, because I've been telling you guys in the recent videos about when I'm training, I'm not doing a lot of pressing in triathlon training. So I don't need to do a lot of bench press and things like that. But what I am doing is a lot of row variations, whether it be horizontal or vertical rows or basically pull-ups. I'm getting strength and I'm building the speed of that muscle, right? So I want to enhance the posterior chain. I want to enhance the strength and the force production and overall rate of force with those movements to enhance my quality in the pool, right? And as I'm running too as well. So a lot of stuff here is going to be predicated towards gait training and then also the posterior chain. So remember that. The last day on Sunday is going to be a 7 to 8 RPE. So if you look at it, these 2 days are the same and these 2 days are the same, right? And this day and this day are the same. The only thing that's breaking it up is that Thursday on a 6, which is more of a medium intensity day. For the most part, you're looking at medium to high on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, Sunday. Now, Sunday is gonna be a long run. Usually I like to hit a PR on this day because I'm that guy. She doesn't like, do you like it when I do that? Like, when I just go push it or whatever? Yeah, so sometimes I won't, you know, I'll go full Goggins on them, take the headphones off and just take souls. Taking souls, my brother. All right, so 7 to 8 RPE, long run. Again, this is the entire training week. I'm gonna go into detail on day 1 and day 2 of the condensed conjugate right now. All right, so now I'm gonna break down the 2 days of in the weight room work. So the day 1, again, is gonna be maximal effort, heavy effort, lower, and dynamic upper. You guys probably seen this rendition in the past when we talk about MMA training, but the same thing applies for triathlon training. So dynamic effort is gonna be 50 to 60% in a 3-week pendulum wave. First week is 50, second week 55, third week 60, back it off, and then go again, right? So the band tension, you want around 25% of your 1 rep max. So make sure that you have either a fish scale or something like that that you can measure out the tension there, right? Usually when you're looking at like from a upper body perspective, it's usually around a red band or a mini band or even a heavy band if you're really strong. But if you're doing triathlon training, I don't really think you're gonna be that strong. And if you are that strong, you probably shouldn't be doing triathlon training. Now with the sets and reps, you're gonna do about 9 sets of triples, right? Because we want the adequate amount of volume to be done with an upper body dynamic day, because remember, we're working on speed strength. So those percentages, you're gonna need that amount of volume based on those percentages. So again, you wanna stick with that. And I usually get these numbers based upon Prilipin's chart. You guys know what Prilipin's chart is, Google it. Trust me, it's a lifesaver. All right, now, the exercises that I utilize are gonna be a landmine coil, all right, a pendulum row, and some type of high pull, whether it be from mid thigh or even from the ground, right? So a power, almost like a power clean high pull, right? Again, I'm working on the backside. I really want to emphasize more pulling power than pressing power. Remember what I talked about in the past. Moving on, right after your dynamic effort, remember what I did here. The section's gonna go speed, high speed to higher force. And then we're gonna finish off with some accessory work based upon the max effort day, right? So maximal effort, heavy effort. The reason why I say heavy efforts is anywhere sub-maximal, usually ranging from 85 to 95%, right? Anything above that, you're working your 1 rep max, because that's gonna be the single rep that you can do with maximal intent. 90 to 100%, and again, like I said, you go up in waves. So you'll do a 90% for week 1, 95% for week 2, 100% for week 3, and then hopefully you can hit a PR with some type of increase on that load, right? So usually I like to go from a 5 rep max to a 1 rep max between those 3 weeks, right? So you do 5, 3, 1 per se. The lifts that you use for the lower body is gonna be sumo deadlift, box squat, front squat, or deficit pulls, usually off a 2 or 3 inch box, all right? And the reason why I like these is, again, you're working through the ground, you're pulling, and again, you're doing full concentric motions, right? The box squat's not gonna give you too much soreness, right? Because you're breaking up the eccentric concentric chain. And again, from the sumo deadlift, the deficit pulls, you're going from a straight concentric. The only thing that really kills you is the front squat. And I would highly recommend you do the front squat on the 5 rep days, because you're using more muscle there. You're using your upper back, you're using your core, you're using your quads, and you're obviously getting out of the hole with your glutes. This is gonna get you as sore as all those other ones. So when you're talking about exercise selection, I would save the front squats for your 5 rep max. Now, for the accessories, right? That's gonna be usually sitting around an RPE 8. So if you're looking at reps in reserve, you got about maybe 1 to 2 reps left in the tank, right? You don't wanna go maximal with this, again, because we wanna minimize the soreness, right? And when you're talking about tempo, again, you don't want too much time under tension. And the goal really, if it is gonna be something that you need to build up, then again, yes, tempo is gonna be important. But for the most part, we're just trying to get stimulation of that muscle. So you're gonna be working gait training right here. So again, if you're looking at lower body, some type of lunge variation, rear foot elevated split squat, front foot elevated split squat, box step up, okay? And then you wanna go away from your postural bias, right? If you're more compression biased, you wanna work more of that posterior or expansion type of work, right? So if you're, again, interior bias, or you're compressed anteriorly, we want to work on getting a vertical shin angle. We want to work on front foot elevated split squats as opposed to rear foot elevated split squats. And also we're going to be doing some type of core work. So we want to make sure we're enhancing the strength of everything, not just your abs, your rectus abdominals. We're talking about obliques. You need some work in your serratus. You need some work in your erectors, things like that, because that is going to help you propel. It's going to help you move throughout the water. And it's also going to keep you strong on the bike. So making sure that your core is strong throughout all time, all right? So that's day 1. Day 2, flipping it, right? Maximal effort, heavy effort upper, dynamic effort lower. Now the difference here is the rep ranges for this is going to be slightly different because of the fact that you are producing large amounts of force, but there's more muscle being activated here because it's lower body, right? 50 to 60% with 25% band tension. But now we're going to be hitting sumo deadlifts, trap bar deadlifts, and box squats. Again, I love box squats. Obviously, you break up the eccentric concentric chain. You get rate of force out of that, especially if you're utilizing bands. And if you do it correctly with a wide enough stance, you're hitting full hips. So again, if you're looking at it from the bike and also from the run, it's gonna be important, but also for the swim. I found that out pretty recently. All right, so strengthening up the hips, strengthening up the posterior chain, pulling with the hamstrings, and utilizing your glutes to lock out. That's gonna be important. Trap bar deadlifts, again, simple movement. Bar sits in midline of the body. So now it becomes more of like a high hip squat, which is really good for extension. And also the sumo deadlifts, again, getting out wider, getting that lateral force displacement too as well. 5 by 5 here, all right? So 5 reps have to be fast. So if you see your velocity go down, drop it down to 3 reps or 2 reps or even singles. But the goal here is to maintain that speed. So you need to make sure that you're getting the adequate amount of volume. So again, if you're gonna be doing 5 by 5, obviously that's 25 reps, right? If you can't do that many reps with that same amount of speed, drop down the reps and then increase the sets. Maximal effort, heavy effort, same thing, 90 to 100%, 5 to 1 rep max in a 3-week wave, right? And for this, we're gonna be doing heavy pendlay rows and pull-ups, right? I keep it real simple. If you really wanna test out your press, you can. Obviously, I don't really need it, especially when it comes to the sport. So I'm actually gonna be working on my pulling power here, whether it be vertical or horizontal. RP 8 on the accessories again, and I like to do unilateral movements. So some type of single arm, single arm type of row or press or anything like that. Expansion compression. So if I'm doing let's say for instance, I'm doing vertical press, or I want to get some vertical pressing with some expansion and compression on the side to side movements. Again, that's going to help with gait training too as well. And then posterior, upper posterior chain. So traps, rhomboids, rear delts, all that musculature back there. We want to enhance that because that's going to strengthen up everything when you're talking about all the sports that we're utilizing inside the triathlon training. So there it is. You got the 2 days. You got the breakdown of the week. That's video 2. Stay tuned for video 3, where Natasha's going to go over nutrition. Make sure you go ahead, if you want to find out more details on this mentorship program, it's a one-time fee. You get access for life. Link is down below in the description. Also, my apparel. You get a shirt, D. Boom. DS on the side. Check it out. Link is down below to rock you some merch and represent. See you again next time. Peace.